what I'm feeling right now. Okay, so as you know, Charlie Kirk passed away last week. Rest in peace to him once again. And obviously, this has started a firestorm of within the right wing where niggas are like, oh, nah, man, the left got to pay for this shit, bro. They took a moderate niggas from us. They shot a moderate nigga, bro. They shot a moderate nigga. Like, fuck no, we can't deal with this anymore. This is shitty. Something's got to change. We got to do something about it. And I'm niggas. I was part of them niggas, bro. I these niggas have clearly went too far here. You know, this has crossed like just a disagreement between ideas and has went into the territory of you're not allowed to speak freely or we kill you. You're not allowed to have the wrong opinions. You're not allowed to think the wrong things. But has that always been obvious from the left side anyway? These niggas were already censoring niggas during 2020. They were canceling people during 2020. These people have already been ready to commit heinous acts. Not saying that you getting fired from your job is a heinous act, but the left has already been very, very willing to get rid of people, right? Or censor your voice or make sure you're just not allowed to speak, whether this now has escalated to you literally dying and getting shot in your neck, or back then during 2020 where it was just, okay, you get banned off social media and you get fired for your job. You understand? Like, these people have clearly been escalating in the level of hurting you for having the wrong opinions. So obviously now the right has fired back. And maybe you have seen, maybe you have not seen, but Jimmy Kimmel, who was a talk show host or comedian, I think he came up during, what year was it? 2003. Came up in 2003. He's been a talk show host and comedian for a long time. And Disney actually ended up taking him off air. A lot of Democrats were saying, oh no, this is you getting rid of free speech. What the hell? You're fucking up free speech. When really, this guy's show ratings were so fucking low. And now, because he made comments about Charlie Kirk and who shot him, it led to the right doing what they've been doing, which has been canceling people on the left. We've been canceling people on the left. We've been finding their employers. We've been getting them fired for their jobs for laughing at Charlie Kirk's passing, right? So the left is trying to act like, oh, you guys were talking all this shit about how cancel culture is bad. Now you guys are doing the same thing, but they don't understand that this shit is not the same thing. And this is where I get more to like my take on this whole situation. Like, the thing is, this is not the same thing at all. You guys were more than willing to cancel people on the right for saying the N word 16 years ago. More than willing. You were more than willing to cancel anybody who had an opinion that you didn't like. It was mainly around the N word. Like, if you said the N word in 2020, you were getting cooked. If you had a conservative voice, or you spoke about conservative things like women are not equal to men, women are inferior to men, which they fucking are. Women are fucking stupid, but women are inferior to men, for example, you would get banned off a platform. TikTok, for example. Like, you're getting banned off the platform. A prominent one was Fresh and Fit. They got banned off TikTok during 2020. I remember that was a crazy time where if you had any dissenting red pill opinions, this was before like Tate and them blew up. So like, if you were having any opinions just off women, you were getting cooked off the internet. You were getting canceled instantly. Understand? Now everybody just says women are stupid and like crazy now, and it's fine. But back then it was crazy during 2020. You know, and a lot of you niggas were there, so you understand what I'm talking about. But that's kind of like the situation we were in, where you were getting cooked. Now the right is doing the same thing to the left, and the left is trying to act like, oh, blah blah blah. What the fuck? Why are you guys doing this? But this, you guys have already sown your bed here. You guys have already, now you guys have to lay in your bed. You guys have started this. Now the right is just defending themselves, and you guys have already escalated to killing people. We're just getting you fired for your job, and that actually brings me to what I wanted to really talk about here. With that, a lot of people are now having this issue where, oh, we're just becoming exactly like the left, like we're just canceling them for their speech and whatever. And my thing is, everything that is not censoring the left and is not killing people on the left, right, is mutual combat to me. It's all mutual combat now. You know, killing is wrong. I think anybody who wants to incite violence or kill leftists for them doing this is wrong. We should not do that. It's wrong. It's stupid, right? And I also don't think we should censor them at all. You know, because a lot of people on the right are like, no, we need to remove these people from the internet. I'm like, slow your roll, my nigga. And the reason for this is because you need to actually know what your enemy thinks. even if they're inciting violence, because I know a lot of people were mad at Hassan for basically some takes he's had about gutting capitalists and shit like that. They're like, oh my God, he needs to get banned. But no. You need to be able to hear your enemies. You need to be able to understand what your enemies think. Think about it. Nobody would really know. Many conservatives would not actually know just how crazy liberals are and leftists are now if they weren't able to post themselves laughing at Charlie Kirk's death. Nobody would really understand how morally corrupt these niggas are and how non-human that these individuals are now. Nobody would know, right? If we were just canceling niggas. It's not good to cancel your enemy. You need to be able to see and understand what your enemy is doing. What hurts more? A punch that you can see coming or a punch you can't see coming, right? Obviously, the punch you can't fucking see. When you start censoring people that you disagree with, they're going to come back with a vengeance and a punch you're not going to be able to see coming. If we censor all the niggas on the left all of a sudden, what's going to happen is niggas are going to start getting murdered out of nowhere. Because you cannot censor dissent because it will find ways to build an army in silence and then destroy you. So I'm completely against censorship. That's just one side of the reason why I'm against it. But another side of this is it goes against the fucking Constitution. I love the Constitution. I love freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is what makes America the greatest country in the world. And for that reason, I don't want us to be out here trying to cancel people for their speech. What happened to Jimmy Kimmel was not us silencing him for his speech. The nigga show was trash. Nobody watches his left wing shit anyway. Their shit is all lame. Nobody watches that dumb shit. What the fuck? Nobody cares. So his shit was already trash. It's just right wingers were contacting the employers of Jimmy Kimmel, right? And they were like, well, his show is trash anyway, so we might as well say fuck off. You got to go, man. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with a right winger contacting somebody's employer and saying, hey, this nigga was laughing about somebody's death. Is this the type of person you want to employ? Because now it's just up to your employer. It's just up to the employer what the employer wants to do. If the employer is like, yeah, I don't fuck with niggas like that and they fire you, I think that's completely okay. If I was an employer, for example, or someone who's going to be an employer in the future, I don't really give a fuck about your political views. If you're doing the work that I want you to do for me and you're doing it very well and you have differing political views for me, that's fine. You're in a free country. We're in a free country. Niggas are allowed to disagree with you. I have no problem with niggas disagreeing. But if someone then comes to me and says, hey, they were laughing about somebody's death or whatever, and I don't want that type of person with that sense of morality a part of my business, yes, I'm going to fire them. But if somebody tries to come to me and said, hey, this man said the N-word, he said nigger on the internet, I'm like, bitch, get the fuck out of here. I don't care if this nigga said the N-word. He's doing the work that he needs to do for me. I don't give a shit about the N-word, so I'm not going to fire him. So it's like the left is trying to make it seem as if this is going against freedom of speech by their employers getting contacted and the niggas getting fired, when no, it's not. It's just like me using, as a right winger, using my freedom of speech to say, hey, you have this nigga who laughs at the death of other people. Is this the type of person you want to employ? If the employer is like, I don't give a fuck, then that's it. They don't lose their job. I see this as mutual combat. The left was doing the same thing for a decade and a half. And while right wingers were mad, they were like, it is what it is. You got fired. And we moved on with our lives because they weren't going against the Constitution. They were not doing anything unconstitutional, right? What they were starting to do unconstitutional shit when they were in power during the last decade and a half, when they were banning niggas off platforms like Trump, for example. That shit was gay. That shit was wrong. That's what I had a problem with. That's censorship. That's wrong. That goes against the Constitution. It fucks up freedom of speech. Your employer getting contacted and you getting fired from your job has nothing to do with freedom of speech, nigga. Your employer doesn't fuck with you that much. If you are getting employed by someone and you guys don't share the same values, of course this nigga's gonna fire you. The fuck? Of course this nigga's gonna fire you. That only makes sense. So let's not, like, the left is trying to act like this is oh no, freedom of speech. Nigga, nobody's doing anything to your speech. And for my young conservatives watching this, I have no problem with you niggas contacting people's employers and getting them fired for laughing at a nigga's death. That's wrong. That's morally corrupt. I think you're completely well within your rights to contact somebody's employer and say, this nigga be laughing at niggas dying. This is the type of nigga you want your business? That's fine. But what I do disagree with, and I do think is wrong, is if you're carrying out violence against leftists or you're trying to get them censored, meaning you're actively saying, hey, this individual should get banned off this platform. Big no no. Do not do that shit. We need everybody to be able to say what they want. Freedom of speech allows everybody to show who they truly are. It allows everybody to have their ideas. It's what allows us to have a democracy. We need everybody to be able to say what they want. When we start censoring niggas, we become like a fucking horrible country. And I don't want that shit. I want all of us to be able to say whatever we want, even if we're saying deplorable things. Even if these leftists are inciting violence on their streams. Good. We know that these niggas are crazy. Hey, FBI, look at this nigga. That's all it takes. If niggas want to use their platforms to incite violence, fine. Tell the FBI, what the fuck, Cash Patel. Hey man, this nigga going crazy. Fine. I think that's fine. But once we start censoring these niggas, they're gonna go start cultivating power in another place that we can't see or we can't hear, and then boom, a slew of niggas die. Because these niggas are already mentally deranged. What do you think is gonna happen next when you censor these niggas? These niggas already lack morality, bro. We need to be able to hear them. We need to be able to see what they're saying and be able to openly disagree with them in public debate. These niggas need to be seen. So that's the moral of the story there. That's my whole opinion on this whole cancel culture thing going on right now. I think if you're contacting people's employer, that's mutual combat to me. The left did the exact same thing. This isn't going against freedom of speech. You're not inciting violence against anybody. I think that's completely okay. Because it's just your employer has to decide if they want to fire you or not. It's not like it's a set in stone thing anyway. So not a big deal. It only starts crossing a line when the left tries to censor the right or the right tries to censor the left. That's when I'm like, niggas, we got to chill. Because this is where we're going to fuck up, where it's going to become violent now. Because if people can't say what they want to say, that's when violence starts, which the late Charlie Kirk said. And he was very intelligent for saying that, because that's true. When people can't say what they want to say, that's when the real violence starts. And we're trying to avoid that shit. So no, nigga, let everybody say whatever the fuck they want to say, even if they're inciting violence. We just let the FBI know this nigga wildin', but you have the conversation with them and you're able to hear them and you understand what's coming. I'm telling you, nobody would be able to understand how deplorable and how immoral the left currently is if they didn't have freedom of speech, if they were not able to express themselves and say or be able to laugh at Charlie Kirk. That, like, we wouldn't be able to fix shit. So that's kind of where we at.